The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the first day of the best month of the year, September 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ian, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Happy Hump Day, Kales. How goes it?
Hey, I'm good. Got the coffee on deck. It is very strong. Sis did not sleep.
Oh, she's awake this morning, folks. This is what that
Yes.
means. She is awake.
Yes, very, very, very awake. Should I tell the people about my yesterday?
Yes, please do. Please do.
So I believe in self-care, right? And I know you do too. I believe in taking out the time to care for our bodies and all of those things. So one of the things that I love to do is get a massage. And so I schedule them into my budget monthly, into my calendar, because it's very important. However, I don't do like relaxing massages. I don't feel like why am I going to pay somebody to be like, okay, here you go. Are you relaxed? No, like I need you to like get in and like work out the kinks. Well, sis worked out the kinks. I have a bruise on my arm. Like
No. Don't just tell them. Show them. Show them.
They want to see the bruise. Can you see the bruise?
Oh yeah, we can see it. We can see it. We can see it.
And I noticed it last night, and I'm like, oh my God! But it was such a good massage. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So on that note, Michaela actually reminded me, folks, that my monthly, I obviously budget for a monthly as well. And so I went to get mine last night. And I usually get deep tissue. I think my lady went a bit soft last night. Maybe it was her last appointment and she was tired. But
you didn't have my lady.
No.
Did not go soft.
I need deep tissue. I need deep tissue. And she got a little soft, and but it was still so relaxing. And I will say I'm refreshed this morning, ready to go. So relaxed that I pretty much should have walked. That's how slow I went on my jog this morning. But anyway, good morning.
Listen, at least you did it, because I did not.
Good morning to everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to get over the hump as we're on Wednesday. Daren Bascome of Proverb and Douglas Trueblood of the Bermuda Tourism Authority are stopping by. Speaking about the new partnership they have going on, the Daily Play is a say it, please don't sing it, Michaela. And folks, Michaela didn't get yesterday.
Yes, I did.
What was yesterday?
The answer was MLK.
That was Monday.
No. It was Dr. Gordon.
Correct. And you didn't get it. Don't. Yeah,
I did not.
Today, folks, I think we'll get her again. This is
Listen, today's my favorite one. So we'll see. Also, I'm just going to pause real quick and remind you that it's been 3 months.
3 months?
3 months. I've been on the show now for 3 months.
Hold up. Folks, isn't that usually like my probation? So I passed.
I was about to say, so now I got a raise? Like,
I mean, gee.
This is what we do?
My goodness. I mean, folks. Well, she survived me 3 months, folks. I was lucky, she kept me around. So congratulations, Kills, and thank you for the 3 months you have given us so far. Looking forward.
Thank you, my dear.
Infinity more? Is that how I say it?
Yeah, to infinity and beyond. Let's go.
All right, infinity and beyond. But look, hey, let's get to today's conversation. There's a lot going on in Bermuda.
Yes.
Leanna's going to share some sad news with us in her news break. And but there's some things going on that we spoke about yesterday, and we tried our best to break it down on Monday with you with some charts and so on. But what I found interesting yesterday is that while there's these protests by the union against the government, there seemed to be something that caught a few people's eyes.
Yes.
And what caught a few people's eyes were the fact that former Bermuda Industrial Union president, current ELP backbencher, Derek Burgess, former minister of the government, MP Zandy Silva, and I think in another picture, current MP Scott Simmons, who I believe challenged the current acting premier Walter Robin about 2 years ago for his deputy premiership. They were there around Union Square in support of the union. No, I'm not into rumors. You know, we don't do rumors on this show or anything. No, not rumors. But the question of the day for the audience, what are your thoughts about two? It shouldn't be two.
3.
Well, what are your thoughts about government backbenchers supporting the BIU protests? What are your thoughts about that? Because it now seems like a house truly divided. Optics, yeah?
Yes.
And it seems like this is not the end of what seems to be a dispute that is, as some say, become personal.
Yeah, I mean, Brother Chris did say that they had the support of 4 to 5 backbenchers, and we saw that at least 3 of them were not afraid to publicly showcase their support. So I'm not mad at it. Again, this is a labor government in name. You know, it's meant to be a progressive government, again, in name. So when you have the former president of the BIU, who is obviously a labor man, coming out and supporting the union, to me, that's what should be done. If you believe in this and you believe in the labor movement, regardless of if you're government, you show up, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting time. Linda Talker says things that make you go,
it didn't make me go,
Nicole Walker says it's about time politicians stood up for what they believe in publicly instead of appearing to go with the status quo. Nikki Michelle says, sounds like a mutiny afoot. Not surprising. This is PLP's way of power transfer. Now, interesting, she says that because, again, not into rumors. That's not what we do here. But obviously, there are people who have their personal feelings. There are people who are sharing things amongst WhatsApp saying that this has nothing to do with decertification. This has everything to do with trying to remove David Byrd as premier. This is a move by some who are unhappy in the party. At the end of the day, folks, if that is true, is David Byrd not just as guilty? Does the name Mark Bean come to mind? Does the name Nalitha Butterfield come to mind? So I don't even like the idea or the term karma.
Yeah.
I don't, but if what's being done to the premier, David Byrd, by his own, is something that people have accused him of doing in the past, that's par for the course, no?
Yeah. See, the thing about this is, for me, I was not surprised when I realized that there were government backbenchers supporting the union. I wasn't surprised at all because, yes, you might have 30 to 6. Obviously, not everyone is going to agree with you as the leader. We've seen that regarding the COVID protocols and so forth. We've seen certain MPs speak out against what the government is doing. So you're never going to have all 30 people in agreement. I just find it interesting because usually, you know, in the House of Assembly, they have a whip and the whip keeps everybody in order and so forth. Obviously, things are not in order. And it's just very interesting that this is happening. We know that the primary is out of office. Again, we're not going to say he's on vacation because we don't know that to be fact. But we do know that he is out of office. So it's just very interesting times. And I'm just sitting watching. I'm got my popcorn. I'm ready because it is quite interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah, indeed. Carla John, she says, I'm not mad at them, but I question their loyalty. But
To the
Carla,
government or to the
Carla,
party?
their loyalty should be to the people always, not to the party, not to the government. Their loyalty should be to the people. So if anything, I mean, I I may maybe question their motives, but loyalty, nah, not me, not for me. I think at the end of the day, their loyalty should be to their constituents. But motives, maybe. Um, Tamara Richardson says it's actually refreshing to see that MPs remember they serve their constituents also. That seat can get hot if one forgets that. Well, the Chief
Yeah.
of discourse can be a good thing. Go ahead, Kales.
No, I agree with Tamara on that. So my MP is Kim Swan, and earlier this year he went viral locally for that video that he filmed trying to come back and the travel authorization, and he was upset. And I was, I was like, oh, look at my MP speaking out. Thank you. Like someone has the guts to speak out. And then he did an about turn, and I was like, really? Like, we're doing about turns here. Like, stand up, have that conviction, and don't be afraid to go against what you believe is wrong. You know what I mean? Obviously, a phone call was made or whatever. But it's just a shame that that sort of thing can happen because, yes, I understand being loyal to your party because that's the party you represent. But you're serving the people. You're not serving your party. And so when your party / the government is doing things like this that obviously you don't agree with, then I'm like, let's go. Let's have that conviction. Let's see that activism that the party was built on.
Yeah. Tamara Richardson says the only thing that's surprising to me is that David Burt thought he would escape the fate of all other PLP leaders. They seem to change leadership willingly. Pop that popcorn, people.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, you think of let's go down the list. The PLP first came into government in 1998.
Yes.
If this is your first time watching this show, if you've never known the story of Dame Jennifer Smith, well, it's written in many books and many articles.
We had to deceive you.
That's one example of a PLP leader going. Then there was the Honorable Alex Scott. Again, look how that turned out.
Yep.
Dr. Brown was a politician, so he kind of knew how to square him out on his own. But let's not forget the amount of times, including the Wigger situation, when he was on the brink. Paula Cox, I mean, yeah, she lost the election, but how she's been treated since. Mark Bean. I mean, brother had a stroke.
That was a dark time in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was very I don't even want to say what I think about that. That was a dark time indeed.
But I think the point, getting back to Tamara's comment, is, one shouldn't be so arrogant to think that this would escape them. It's a pattern within
absolutely
the Progressive Labor Party, and you, sir, do not represent a space where it's going to ignore you or bypass you.
Yeah.
So yeah, pop that popcorn.
Listen, it's going to be very interesting, and like you said, when we look at the history, when we look at what has been done, it's going to get very interesting very quick. And then we go back to that whole point of people saying, oh, well, then who would be the leader? So that's the justification that you all have? Oh, okay.
But that tells you more about the voters, the electorate. If you vote for someone that you wouldn't trust being the leader of the country, that's on you.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. Like if we can sit here and have a conversation that, oh, well, if not David Burt, who? If that's our thinking, then the electorate are to blame for that, because you should not be voting for anyone that you don't deem good enough to run the country. Yeah. Because when you're voting for someone, you're essentially giving that. Carla John says, without loyalty, what does any party have? Carla, I'm not sure. I know you tune in. I know you tune into politics, not the show, politics. And I know you're an honest person. and we've had many talks. But you've got to admit, I'm not saying it's right because we want to change that. That's what people like you are fighting for. But you've got to admit, these politicians in Bermuda aren't loyal to anything themselves. It's self-interest. Come on, sister, you know this. You know this. They are not interested in anything but self-interest. I'm not choosing one or two. I'm talking about the collective.
Well, it's faux loyalty, right?
Yeah,
it's like faux loyalty. And then when we think about it, like, I mean, we have these conversations, we talk about people going into politics for a check. It just is what it is.
But if they're loyal to anything, it's that paycheck. It's that paycheck
right.
that they don't have the ability to collect elsewhere. That's what it is. Sam Cat Play says, "Thank you, Michaela. That's just it. They don't speak up and out about it, and don't care that they are getting paid by us." Woo, popcorn. Everyone's got popcorn in their diet all of a sudden.
Listen, pop that popcorn. It's about to get hot.
How many of the electorate actually vote? What was it? 70-something% last time?
The last election was the lowest turnout we've had in a while.
Yeah, understood. I mean, you can't disagree with it.
That was that was an unnecessary election, in my opinion. Yeah, but,
I mean, for again, self-interest.
Of course, it was self-interest. It was absolutely self-interest. Yeah. And I think if that election happened this year, it wouldn't have gone that way. But of course, that's why it happened, right?
That's why it happened. We knew it. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, "I hope all the backbenchers have shared their views on the union decertification process, and I hope it was received in an honorable manner." Now,
I don't think it was. Deep sighs?
No, I'm just trying to figure out, how does the premier, right? Because, as coined by the late Laverne Ferbert, I believe, the brilliance of Bert. How does the premier get around this one? Because I know people have been saying that, oh, this is more about changing the leadership in the party. There are different, like, to me, and this is just from what we've seen. David Bert he's an intelligent guy. You've just got to give props where it's
of course.
Due. But this guy plays a game. We're living life. He plays a game.
Mm-hmm.
He plays a game very well to maintain power.
Mm-hmm.
So it would not surprise me if his supporters are putting out that stuff to kind of create that diversion, right? To make it seem like this is not about decertification. It's about removing him as leader. That's it's a game to these people, right? And this is where the electorate has to wake up and say, yo, this is my life. This is not a game. This is life and death for people.
Yes, absolutely. And we need to remember that perception is reality. Okay. So whatever story, whatever narrative that the premier wants to sell you, that's what's being told. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean it's facts. It just means perception is reality. And the faster that people can accept that, I think the better off we will be, because then the whole fairy tale, someone's coming to save us and make the world a better place, will go out the window, because that's just not how life works.
Yeah, indeed. Interesting times. I just think there's never a dull day in Bermuda. I always say about this show, doing this every day is not an easy thing, getting ready, preparing for an episode. But one thing I've noticed about Bermuda over the last year, and Michaela over the last 3 months, is we will never run out of conversations to have.
Nope.
Because of simply the things that happen in Bermuda.
And this is the thing, like, even when I was a reporter, like, they call this time of year silly season. There's always something happening. You can always find a story. That is the beauty of Bermuda.
Yeah. Before we bring Leanne in, I just want to go to Carla John's last statement. She says,
what you got?
She says, "This is why I couldn't be in politics. Expectations of loyalty is really low. It's a really low bar." And Carla, the truth is, people talk about more women in politics, and I'm going to pick on you and the other commenter there, Tamara. And I think people would look at both of you and say, man, you would make brilliant politicians. The truth is, neither of you will probably get into politics simply. But look, Tamara just responded to her, saying for me, right? So I'm not picking on them, but I'm just saying people would want people like you to get involved. But the truth is, because of those reasons you mentioned, you won't. So then we're left with the scraps. We're literally left with scraps.
I mean, the thing is, I think we have to be realistic. There are people who say get into politics because you can change the world. I don't actually believe you can change the world by being a politician. Let's be real. We can change the world with money.
Well,
With money. So
that's it.
when you can make a lot of money, you can make decisions. You can make changes. So if you want to change the world, become wealthy.
Well, I
Then you
think,
can change the world.
in truth, as we wrap it up, I want to say many African countries are great examples of that, as is Bermuda.
Mhm.
Black people were fighting for political power. And then when they got it, they realized, hold up, we need more than political power. We need to control the money. Leanna, good morning, sister. How are you?
I just want to say that, Michaela, hashtag silly season. I am using that. I am
It's silly
using that.
I honestly thought you were going to just show up with popcorn for your news break the way
I should have. I just should have. I should have been sitting there like.
Anyway, Lee, let's get over to your news break. And don't forget, folks, after Leanna's done, we'll have Douglas Trueblood and Daren Bascome on talking BTA, new partnerships, some good things happening over in the tourism sector. Lee, over to you.
Thanks, Jamala, Michaela, and happy hump day and happy first day of the month to everyone out there that's tuned in with us this morning. This year is surely flying by, but I hope everyone is ready for the upcoming month. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for our daily hour news break. So here's what's happening in today's top stories. Bermuda has recorded its 34th death from COVID-19, and the number of active coronavirus cases has jumped to 205 over the weekend. The news came as 79 new positive results for the coronavirus came from the latest more than 10,000 test results revealed last night. Now, the 205 active cases of COVID-19 was the highest number recorded since May 12th. 3 people are in hospital, but none are in the intensive care unit. The death was the first since May 21st. 28 people have recovered since the last update on Friday. Now, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family of their loved one. Meanwhile, the island's COVID-19 risk rating has also been increased in the wake of the news by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, or the CDC. The country was classified as level 3 high, up from level 2 moderate in a travel advisory on the organization's website. Now, the travel advisory said that unvaccinated travelers should avoid coming to the island. In other news, it's been a tense past 2 days and more industrial action could be on the horizon. The news came after union leaders met last night to discuss the possibility of more disruption next week in the ongoing battle over labor laws. Bermuda Industrial Union President Chris Ferbert said afterwards an announcement on any further action would be forthcoming, but there was no indication of the union's plans to be announced. Now, the BIU members are expected to return to work today after 2 days of disruption that saw bus service staff and others down tools, as well as marches in protest of the controversial decertification labor legislation issues. For COVID-19 phases, 4 school protocols have been drawn up by the Ministry of Education as pupils are expected to head back this month for their 3rd academic year under the pandemic. Now, according to the revised criteria shared internally last week, schools would be closed imminently under community transmission at phase 1, while no closures would be ordered at phase 4, with no new cases detected for at least 28 days. Now, details on the back-to-school protocols and saliva testing will be made public today at a joint education and health press conference, which is scheduled for 11 this morning. And a man wanted by police in connection with a shooting that left a 22-year-old man in hospital has been arrested. Police said last night that 25-year-old Daquan Smokey Williams had been taken into custody in the wake of the shooting at Orange Hill in St. David's, which took place last Friday. Now, another man was said to be in custody on Saturday. A police spokesperson said an update on the investigation is expected later today. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 86 77 and a low near 80 degrees. We will see a bright start to the day with skies becoming mostly sunny at times. We can anticipate the gradual weakening of the ridge from tonight, increasing the surrounding moisture and humidity before a front nears from the west and brings further increases to shower activity for the latter part of the week. Now, we continue to monitor Tropical Storm Kate to our distant southeast and recently formed Tropical Storm Larry near the African coast. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back to Jamal and Michaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All righty. Thanks so much for that, Lee. Appreciate
Most
it.
welcome.
How many current cases in Bermuda right now, you say?
205.
205, and they just keep creeping up. All righty.
Yeah.
With school going back in, that must be very concerning for parents. That, interesting time. So, Lee,
Well, teachers are expected back in the classroom today. So, so we should see an update like it had stated in the news report today from the Ministry of Education. So we'll see what's going on.
All right, Lee, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later, guys.
Bye, Lee.
All right. Do not go anywhere. Going to take a quick break. After this break, we will have Douglas Trueblood and Daren Bascome from the BTA and Proverb on to discuss their latest. All right, stick with us.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Michaela Ian. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I just want to take a break because we missed a birthday shout out yesterday.
We did. We did.
Yes. And I'm
blaming you though.
Well, no, I'm gonna be very honest. No boss throwing. I'm blaming Facebook because Facebook doesn't remind us of birthdays until after the show, right? So, I didn't remember. So, a big happy birthday to our good friend, advisor, our chief, Cherie Dill, who was often in the comments. Hope you had a great day, and even though it was in August, hopefully best month of the year right now, September, you can continue to enjoy your day today. So if you know Cherie, if you see it in the comments, folks, please give Cherie a big birthday shout. Without further ado, let's bring up guests for the day. Douglas Trueblood from the Bermuda Tourism Authority and Daren Bascome from Proverb. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hi. Great stuff. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
That's Michaela. Real quickly, I meant to mention this earlier before we get into the combo with you guys. I follow Skyport. So those who don't know, Michaela's one of the big cheeses down there. But anyway, I noticed yesterday on social media that I want to say Charles Jeffers was on last week or the week before, the CEO of the PTA. And Skyport shared that Bermuda is actually losing the Newark flight and another flight.
The SATA flight. Yeah, it's seasonal.
Okay. All right. No, I just wanted to clarify. So right now, before we get into today's conversation, how many direct flights are there from the US right now? Is there like only 4?
No, we've got several out of New York, out of Atlanta, Charlotte. We've got numerous flights up and down the East Coast. So we'll service from Boston all the way down to Miami. We've got flights coming in.
Okay, but those are not daily, right? They're not daily anymore.
We have daily flights, and then we have, just due to, as Michaela just mentioned, just because of seasonal purposes, they do some that are not daily, but the majority of them are coming out of New York City, and those are daily.
Okay, cool. Not to change subjects, but I meant to mention it earlier. I'm sorry. I meant to mention it earlier. I was like thinking. But look, thank you both. Honestly, thank you both for coming. Daren, if you don't mind me saying, we met many years ago in Boston, where you're based, correct? You're still based in Boston?
Yeah. Many years ago, our office is in the South End, which is one of the historic downtown neighborhoods. And so that's where we're headquartered.
So for those who don't know, Daren, just tell them a bit about, you are Bermudian, but you have Proverb is a US-based company. Just give people a bit about your background.
Sure, yeah. So I was born and raised here in Bermuda, went to elementary school, graduated from Berkeley, decided to go to Boston to pursue my education. Boston was kind of a rite of passage in my family. So my dad's a Berkeley College of Music graduate. My sister's a graduate of Mass College of Pharmacy, and decided to stay on one more year. Along the way, all kinds of things can happen. Started a family, got married, started a company, it's been a real labor of love. It's an organization that really kind of started out, just as me as a freelancer, and as I kind of exited out of a career in exhibit design. So I worked for a firm that planned to produce museum exhibits and aquariums and zoos all over the world. Worked on projects like the National Museum of Australia and the aquariums in Barcelona and in Taiwan, the Experience Music Project, American Jazz Museum. And part of what's really interesting about that work is that, you start out by talking to people like yourselves who are super, super smart. And the up and the downside is that sometimes you may have too much knowledge around a particular subject area. And so the exercise is really, how do you winnow it down, turn it into a storyline, deliver it in a way that really is accessible to, an 8-year-old or someone with a PhD, and align all these different disciplines to tell that same story, whether that's an architect, a lighting designer, a filmmaker, or whomever. I would say that, that experience in many ways, kind of sets the bedrock for the way we tend to approach branding at Proverb, where, we really are sort of looking at things, both strategically and in ways that really are informed, through primary and secondary research. But we're really heavily focused on, how do we create a story that is actionable by others, and that we really are able to create things that are immersive.
And I think we'll get to that, because Charles actually mentioned last week about, Bermuda's story. What is it? Douglas, just give those watching and listening a bit about your background and your role with the BTA.
Sure. Thank you. First of all, happy 3 months, Michaela.
Thank you.
Celebrated 6 months. So you and I are celebrating a little bit of an anniversary here. But
yes.
To give some background about myself, I started my career with Universal Studios. I was with them for almost 16 years. I was heading up theme parks. I opened up all their international parks in Japan and Singapore. After that, I got more involved with destination marketing, because theme parks move into destinations. And so what happened was my career started going from even more from the marketing piece of it, of marketing a theme park, to actually marketing and working with destinations. That brought me to Dubai, and I worked there for a couple of years, opening a variety of theme parks and attractions, did some work in Poland. And then just recently, before coming here, I was down in the Bahamas working as the head of marketing and sales for the Bahamas group down there, driving tourism for those islands. So I could not be more excited. I feel like I won the jackpot. I'll tell you what, having been in Bermuda, it is just, I love every day I come out here. And every time I come out here, I learn more and more about this beautiful destination. And I really feel very honored to be the person to go out there and spread the good news.
Indeed.
Awesome. I love it. So for those who aren't aware, what is this partnership between BTA and Proverb, and how did it come to be?
Sure. I'll kind of jump in there, and I'll let Daren chime in when we can. So the whole idea was, Charles and I both started, I started 6 months ago. Charles started 5 months ago. Charles is our CEO, Charles Jeffers. And the two of us really sat down and put some thought around, the direction we were going to go and what was Bermuda going to be. And knowing that, of course, we had this beautiful national tourism plan, as you guys are well aware of, that was put together with the former administration that I really look at as my North Star. That was something that I looked at and I studied as far as the audiences and the markets and the people that we spoke to, and even our narrative and our messages that we had out there. But as time has changed, as we all know, that national tourism plan was done and written before the pandemic hit. And so it's important for us to kind of step back for a moment and say, how does that still apply? And a lot of it still does apply, but the world has changed. And so with that, Charles and I both decided, along with members of the BTA team, that we need to step back for a moment and we need to evolve as the world is evolving. And we need to step back for a moment and look at our destination and see how are we positioned? What markets are we talking to? What audiences are we reaching out to? And really kind of redefining a little bit about the whole message of what Bermuda is all about. So with that, we decided, let's go ahead and do a brand study and look out for other companies that might be able to come in and help us. And so we put an RFP out that we got a great response. We had about 12 companies that we heard back from and started narrowing it down with the committee. And I want to say too, the selection committee was not, Charles and I sitting in our office looking at a bunch of proposals. Another thing that I really appreciate that Charles does is he really wants to engage the community. And so with that, we decided, let's have our selection committee consist of members of the BTA, members of our board, of course. And then we reached out to the community and we got people from restaurants and magazines. We got Dijon that joined us, Denny that joined us, Gabrielle that joined us, and people that came in that were within the city that they could add their point of view. And that's something that we really want to do here at the BTA is engage the community, get them involved in what we're doing, so you understand what we're doing, the direction that we're going, and we want to hear from you. And so this was really our first, the first time that we had a chance to do that, right? So we get the RFP, we put it out there, and of course we narrowed it down to Proverb, who did an amazing job really showcasing what the work that they've done and how we can really apply it to Bermuda. They did an amazing campaign. I encourage all of you guys to look at their Boston campaign that they did that really talked about diversity and inclusion and really spoke to a lot of the essence of that we felt that Bermuda needed. And so that was one reason. Of course, there's a lot of other reasons, other talents that Daren has on his team, but we're really excited about bringing them on board. And I do want to note too that we reached out to a lot of Bermuda companies, and there was one company that responded back to us, Polina over at AAC. I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with AAC. It's the oldest advertising company here in Bermuda. Polina and her team also put a proposal in, and even though they weren't chosen, one thing that we thought that they could add to the conversation. And so again, Charles, myself, the BTA team reached out, and AAC is also going to be working alongside with Proverb, and they're going to be kind of adding that authenticity that not that Daren can't do it, because Daren is from Bermuda and certainly understands the Bermuda ways, but having AAC here as well, supporting Proverb, really combines the best of both, right? You've got an agency here that's located on island. You've got an agency in Boston. Of course, we're kind of going back and forth between the two, but I'm really pleased with the fact that we're going to have that agency support us as well, and really follow the lead that Daren has put a plan in together for us to look at. So I'm really excited about the direction we're going.
Absolutely. So I want to know, and I'm sure many people want to know, why is a brand story so important for a destination?
Well, think about it. Think about the destinations that you like to visit. Why do you go to Hawaii? Why do you go to Paris? Why do you go to the UK? Or you always wanted to go to South Africa? All of these places have a story, and they've intrigued you enough to say, that's where I want to go. I see myself in that spot. And one thing that we will really start doing is putting, if you go to our website right now, we've developed new videos for all the hotels. One of the reasons we did that was we wanted people to feel like they knew, instead of just putting a static picture up of Grotto Bay, we wanted to make sure that people understand, what is Grotto Bay all about? So the same thing with our destination. We want to tell a story, and we're really engaging storytellers, from influencers to our PR agency and to our new agency that we just hired in the UK, to really tell the story. And Daren's going to kind of help write that narrative for us as far as what are we, who are we, and what Bermuda is all about. So the storytelling is a very big piece, and we all follow that every day.
Absolutely. And Daren, as a Bermudian, how much does it mean to you that your agency has been tasked with creating this new brand story for your island?
Yeah, no, it's incredibly exciting. For us, we really feel like, or for me, I feel like, it's complete alignment, between sort of my professional goals and my personal ones. I maintain strong ties. I read the Gazette and Burn News most days. My family is all here, and at the same time, at Proverb, we've done an awful lot. Douglas, you just mentioned the campaign that we created for the city of Boston as it, tries to, exit COVID, and in that case, we really were able to accomplish an awful lot through that campaign. One of the things that we're big believers of at Proverb is that powerful brands are always connected to purpose-driven organizations. And so the way in which we tend to approach branding and storytelling is really to try to inject an additional sense of purpose, into everything that we do. Campaigns come and go, but your brand, is really who you are. It's really something that should remain, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And so that's the way in which we tend to think about these things. To just share a little more of our, direct experience, so we also work, directly with municipalities across the country. We work with commercial real estate developers, who are developing everything from, luxury and affordable housing to high performance office buildings to essentially new neighborhoods that are being conceived and built. We work with major cultural institutions. We work with higher ed institutions. And so almost everything that we do at Proverb, starts or stops with a physical place. I would say that, as I think a little bit more about your question, one of the things that really distinguishes our approach at Proverb is that, we tend to create what we call a brand truth. It's really this underlying idea, theme, or concept, that isn't necessarily intended to be publicly facing, but it's, an idea that can really help to inform, not just, communications and marketing efforts, but can also be used to inform organizational development. So what's that bumper sticker version, that Douglas just spoke a bit about in terms of, why it is that you've always wanted to go to Hawaii, or why it is that you've always wanted to go to Morocco. But that same idea can also, help to inspire, someone to get out of bed in the morning in terms of sort of what the mission is, that we're collectively trying to deliver upon. And then lastly, that brand truth can also really help to inform product development. So if we think about a company like BMW, and if, ultimate driving machines was their brand truth, then that really informs what a BMW skateboard should do, should they choose to make one. And so, so for us, a big part of our exercise, has, is to both, study, test, and, and ultimately deliver something that we think is actionable, as a collective.
Absolutely. And where does your inspiration come from?
For this assignment or in general?
I mean, both.
Yeah, so I'm, very interested in culture. I'm interested in design. I'm interested in history. I'm interested in fashion and economics, and science, and philosophy. And so many of those things really help to inform the way in which both I tend to address and synthesize information, but I think that those ideas also really help to inform the way in which we tend to approach things at Proverb. I would say that the branding that we tend to do is is something that you're not just read or look at, but ultimately is something that you feel. And being able to deliver things in ways in which they're recognizable from 30 feet away, or what have you. One example of this, in just talking a bit more about the City of Boston campaign was that they had put out an RFP, about a year ago, and the RFP was very clear, both in terms of wanting to support the safe reopening of the city, but also, wanting to do that in a way that supported an equitable recovery. And when we look at the impact that COVID has had, the communities that have been disproportionately impacted, are largely, Black and Latinx and immigrant communities. So as we thought a bit about, the campaign and this idea of all inclusive and really using that adage, not just to sort of speak to, the variety of things that one can access in the city. We also used it as an opportunity to reintroduce the city. Boston has changed so much over the last 25 years. And,
it has, definitely.
Yeah. And so what we found when we looked at the market research was that when people, that the city wasn't that well known as a leisure destination, but when people knew more about, the cultural offerings of the city, the diversity of the city, the vibrant food scene, the ways in which the city's become hipper, their interests really were piqued. And so, that inclusive idea is also intended to be able to sort of speak to, the people that occupy the city. We really tried to both run a campaign focused on residents of the city and really wanted to inspire them to be a little more adventurous in terms of how they approach their neighborhoods or think about the city that they're a part of, just given the impact that COVID's had, particularly on the hospitality sector. So even if that's being a little more adventurous on where you order takeout from,
right?
But as we sort of built out the campaign, we didn't just stop with BIPOC communities. We expanded it to really focus on small business, to focus on LGBTQ+, to focus on women-owned, to focus on artists, and other types of influencers. And at the same time, to also, to continue to showcase, our well-known institutions and, and present a Boston that's bigger than what happens between Fenway and the Freedom.
Correct.
No, I love that. I grew up in Massachusetts, so Boston's pretty great. So ultimately, what does the BTA hope to accomplish through this partnership? Like, what's the end goal?
Well, again, I think everything that Daren said, that the success that they had with Boston is certainly the same goals and vision that we have for Bermuda. I'm looking at probably over the next several months as we continue to evolve with this brand and continue to do our marketing and sales efforts that we're doing out there, that this is going to lead us to really put us more and more on the global stage. And once we have that new story to tell or to reinvent ourselves a little bit to the consumer, to let them know who we are. And I think that's really our ultimate goal, is to get out there. There are so many markets and audiences that we don't reach. And that's to no fault of what's been done in the past, but we've really recognized that. And so we are looking at, who are those audiences? Who are those other people that we haven't talked to yet, that haven't come here? One thing that every time I'm here, I'm staying at the Hamilton Princess on this trip, and I always talk to people in the elevator, or I'll talk to people, as we're waiting in line to sit down for dinner. And I always enjoy just asking questions. I always do my own little focus group. And so yesterday I was in the elevator and I was having a conversation with this lady, and I said to her, where are you coming from? And she actually was coming from Boston. And I said, well, I'm so happy you're here, and how's your experience been? And I start talking to them, and she's like, well, this is the third time I've been here this month.
Wow.
And I said, 3 times this month? And she said, yeah. She said, you know what? The reason we come here is not only just because of the proximity, because it's so close, but she said, it's so safe here. And, I know that has always been that's been an issue since, unfortunately, we've had to deal with this pandemic. But I just want to say that I applaud what the health department has done, and me and my position, and really going out there and speaking about this amazing destination. I'm proud of the fact that our protocols have been so strict, because when people do come here, they feel safe. And that to David, to our premier, to the health department, I really applaud their efforts, because it's a hard sell in many ways because of all the testing you have to go through. But when people get here, she was there with her 2 children, and she said, we feel safe here. And again, that just makes me very proud to be associated with the destination that is taking care of its people, that's taking care of its guests. And we may not be hitting the numbers we have right now, but the long term, it's going to pay off, and I really believe that.
All right. You have people that continuously, and I try not to get caught up in comments on news stories, because they'll drive you freaking crazy.
Right.
But there are people who say, this is just another tourism study. We've had numerous studies, numerous marketing campaigns, and still the same result. Why should people feel confident about this? Like this is a turning point?
Well, again, I appreciate that. I've worked for several organizations, and I've heard those things before. But the wonderful thing is when the results change, they will see a change, and I'm very confident of that. We've got a lot of things happening in the world right now. Let's remember that we're not just dealing, and it's not just us that are dealing with it. The world is dealing with change right now. Like I said earlier, I speak to a lot of my DMO colleagues, and all of us are faced with either over tourism or not enough tourism. And the over tourism markets are getting a lot of business just because of where they're located, and people feel safe going. But as far as our brand and the direction that we're going, it's not like we're going to come out with something that's going to be drastically different than what we're doing. But what Daren's team is really going to do is kind of get down to the essence of who we are, and really be able to tell that story, so that we then can communicate that better around the world. And I'm very confident that we are going to get a campaign, and it's not just based on a campaign. A lot of people think, oh, we're going to change our tagline, or we're going to do this, that, the other. There's more to it than that. And I think that there's going to be a lot of surprises along the way, because there's a lot of times where the 4 of us may think we know what that answer is already, but you don't. And that's what's really interesting. We start asking questions, and we start going out into the public here and asking and engaging our community. We're going to find out some things that we probably didn't even know. And those are the stories that we want to tell. That's going to help define who we are, and then how we're going to go out there and really, spread the good word. But I will tell you, again, I know the National Tourism Plan was done. I know that a lot of effort was put into that. That is, I said earlier, that really is my North Star. I look at it all the time. I understand what the segments and the audiences that they've identified there. However, we do have to step back, and we have to look at where the world is today. And part of that is really doing a brand study, so we really truly understand how we're going to go out there in the marketplace and present ourselves, so that we are on the global stage, and we are a part of the consideration set. So I'm really confident that in a couple months from now, you're going to see a lot of changes coming about.
I'll tell you this, and this is just going back years when Daren and I met. Not trying to age either of us, but
I'm the young person on the show. I'm just saying.
But no, I remember it was the first conversation I had with someone where that was the era where everything was about social media at that time, just getting around to it. And Daren helped me understand, no, it's not just about slogans and putting pretty pictures on. It's about understanding the purpose. So with you saying that, I feel like this is long overdue for Bermuda. And I personally did see on LinkedIn when Boston released the promotional campaign that you did with them. And I hope that every Bermudian saw it, because it is a different Boston. I've had the privilege of living up in Massachusetts myself, actually, when we met then. And I've spent a lot of my time in New England. And all I remember from my time up there is the schools. Those are the most well-known, and the sports. That's what New England's known for me, the sports and the schools. So going beyond that to share more stories about the people. Like, you wouldn't think Boston and food, like culinary, right? You probably wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think of it as a welcoming place like most places, because historically a lot of people thought it was a racist place. So I think if bringing that to Bermuda is probably something that's long overdue. So I support it wholeheartedly. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what comes out of this. And I think Bermudians and Bermuda will definitely benefit from your hard work. Before you go, anything you want to just say to the people that can leave them on a high? Because right now, with all that's going on in the world, they need some hope.
Well, first of all, don't give up, you guys. We're going in the right direction, and it's just hearing you say that, Jamal, and supporting us means a lot to us. But I really want the Bermudians to know the BTA is here for you. We are here. We want to hear from you. We want you to be part of our process, part of our decision making, and that's one thing you're going to find out a lot of the changes within our organization. And I really salute to our new CEO who is doing just that. He's reaching out to the community. He's asking questions. He's getting answers. And you know what? We're not hearing everything we'd like to hear, but that's okay. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help these hotels, and I'm meeting with all the GMs, and my heart bleeds for them because I know what they're going through right now. I grew up in a hotel myself, so I watched my parents go through this, and it's a very difficult thing for them to, so want to serve the people and so want to have these guests. And they're just not coming because of what we're faced with right now. So we are going to go down lots of different paths until we get to a place that we feel that the new Bermuda, where we're going to be, the direction that we're going, the support that we have from you guys, just being able to have a chance to be on air with you all today, with the talents of Proverb, and of course the very, very talented team at the BTA and the leadership with Charles. I am confident that you're going to see a new Bermuda, and let's get excited about that, because I am. And I really am. I kind of feel like I'm slowly becoming a Bermudian. I said to somebody the other day when I was flying out here, I said, I'm going home. And, already I felt that. And you all have made me feel that way, that when I come in here, Larry picks me up at the airport, and, I walk into these hotels and I get the greetings and these warm greetings. And this is exactly what guests and people are feeling. And, Bermudians want to give that, no matter what restaurant you go to, or what taxi driver you have, or what person's helping you at a retail store. I'm telling you what, I have never seen anything like it. And I am so excited and again, proud to be able to have that voice to go out there and tell people how wonderful Bermuda is and what it has to offer. I do want to say one thing real quick, Jamal. We do have this new tourism experience investment program. I really go to BTA Insights on Facebook. This is an opportunity. What we're trying to do is really encourage those folks, especially in the arts, that have been, just closed down for a while. Let's face it, they haven't had an audience, right? So what we're trying to do is invest in them. There's an application process. You can go again to BTA Insights, or you can go to our website and find out more about it. But we're doing some really, really fun things. The other night we had the Soul Sunday sessions over at the Bermuda Coffee House, which was really cool. We're doing these things to really engage again the community. Our experiences team is really playing a big role in that. And again, we want this country to really get out there and really be on the global stage. And we're going to start internally here with our own people, and we're going to go outwards. So just know that the BTA is supporting you all along.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Darren, real quickly, for people who want to learn more about Proverb and get in touch with you, just tell them how they can reach you.
Sure, yeah. So they can find us at proverbagency.com. You can certainly feel free to reach out to me through social, whether that's LinkedIn or Instagram, tend to be the easiest. But please know that, at this point, we're certainly in a mode where it's, 2 ears and 1 mouth. We'd love to hear from folks in terms of, ideas that they may have or anything else. And we'll certainly, be delivering a process, that allows for the input of many,
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Are out of time, but thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Daren. And we look forward to having you back. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Thanks again to both gents. If you appreciated that conversation, enjoyed the information shared, don't forget to show us some love, a like, show them some love. It was great. We're going to be right back. We have the Daily Play and Daily Inspiration. Do not go anywhere.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Tune in every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment. BCG Radio. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices.
All right. Thanks again to Daren Trueblood, Douglas Trueblood, and Daren Bascome for that conversation. Real quickly, Michaela, what are your thoughts on today's conversation?
I thought it was such a great conversation. I am so excited to see what Daren and his team at Proverb are going to do. And I just love talking to Douglas, like the energy, the vibe, like he seems so excited to be here and to be promoting Bermuda. And that makes me excited. So I loved it.
I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because it's me. But man, his energy is totally different from the person he replaced. I mean,
you shouldn't say that.
I shouldn't say it, but that's
a good thing, though. That is a good thing.
It's a damn good thing.
Completely drew me in right from the beginning. And so that was just awesome.
He's drawn Bermudians in.
Yes.
That's a good thing. So props to Douglas and keep that energy going. And it's a tough, I'll say this much. Right now is one of the toughest times to take over a job like this.
Mm-hmm.
The challenges are beyond your control.
Absolutely.
On it, keep going, and I think it'll work itself out. All right, time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela, are you ready?
She ready.
Help her out, folks. Help her out. Guess this song before Michaela, and you get yourself a prize. It's a say it, don't sing it. Quote, preacher man, don't tell me. Heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. End quote.
I don't know why you keep picking songs I don't know. Like, you have yet to do a soca song. I don't understand. Is it a Bob Marley song? It sounds like it would be a Bob Marley song. No?
Well, I mean, you got one part, right?
I know it's Bob, and I'm going to be irritated when I know the answer because I know Bob Marley songs.
Everybody's saying Bob, but what's the song?
Say it again. Say it again.
All right. It is Preacher Man, Don't Tell Me. Heaven is Under the Earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. She's looking in her phone, folks.
I'm not. My phone is on the side. I'm literally not. My hands are here. I don't know. I'm annoyed that I don't know this because I love Bob.
Nicole Walker got it. Get up, stand up.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes.
Get up, stand up.
You know what it is? Because you be picking the most random parts of the song, like pick the hook.
I'm not gonna pick the hook because that's too easy for you.
No, pick the hook.
No, that's too easy. I picked the hook because that's get up, stand up. No. Anyway, we got a
part of the hook at least. Jeez.
A big for Michaela.
Wow, that's the type of love I get today. All right, I see you.
Any daily inspiration for us? You need it.
Do. All right, ready?
Yep.
Of course, now it's going. Here we go. Think big, trust yourself, and make it happen.
All right. Think big, trust yourself, and make it happen. I like that.
Make it happen.
Unknown?
It's unknown.
All right. No worries. Emily Kale Dill says, Jamal, I was first. Not according to what I put up, madam. Nicole Walker certainly showed up first one. Actually, it says 8:01 a.m. on us. So on our side, Nicole Walker was first. So apologies. Don't blame us. Blame the system that we use to share. So we'll make sure we take care of you too. Don't forget, if you win something from us, send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. Thanks again to Daren Bascome and Douglas Trueblood. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications and Lindos, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again for one more day this week. That will be tomorrow. No show on Friday. All right. All right. Michaela needs a day off, and so do I.
Listen.
All right. She's Michaela Ann. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a great day. Cheers.